Hey, what's up? I'm ChrisJ.Wright. I started the Moment of Truth Straight Talk series to show rawness and relatability through social media, to advocate for mental health through self-care by sharing my life story through my experiences. When I was 14 years old, I got myself into a private school. At just 14, I think for teenagers is a very pivotal moment in life. A lot of things are starting to change. A little mustache may be starting to appear. You start feeling yourself. That age for me was a deciding factor on which way I would choose to go in life. I was dibbling and dabbling with the wrong crowds and sort of heading down that slippery slope. I was searching for a way out of my current circumstances. Those were the years when most people are starting high school. And as my mom would say, "All right, boy, you starting to feel yourself." We've all had a point in life when we had to make a choice. I chose a better future through education and sports for a way out. When I was growing up, I started watching sports and football in this case at about the age of 7. And I remember the first team that I saw play, and that was the Dallas Cowboys. And from there on, I became a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. What drew me to the Dallas Cowboys, I think, was the star on the helmet. When you're a child, little things like that are significant. So I think I was more infatuated with the star actually being on the helmet, and that drew me to the team. And plus, that was the first team I ever saw playing on television. Thinking about it now, me watching that team on TV, I never knew at the time I would be so inspired to want to play sports, and that I would ultimately find something that would change my life forever. When I saw the Dallas Cowboys playing on TV and that star on the helmet, I knew then I can grow up to be a star. Kids are very imaginative when they're young. We are huge dreamers when we're kids. And I told myself from that day forward, I was going to be a football player in the NFL. But I did everything to try to make that dream come true. I remember I was walking around the neighborhood in which I live in with a good friend of mine. And we walked up past the school by the name of St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I was so inspired because that was the first time I saw so many fans and so many people at a game supporting. They had mascots out there with their faces painted, the crowd. And for me, I've always yearned for that support and wanted to be a part of something that was big from when I was a kid. So I remember attending Parkway Middle School and being a bit of a clown and, really struggling with my grades. I was just fighting to stay afloat. Remembering that experience walking by that high school and saying, "Hey, I want to go there." Now, I didn't graduate with a 3.0 or 4.0 GPA. How am I going to get into this school? This school was a private school. I didn't know, but knowing now, you have to have good grades to get into, certain types of school. And you also have to pay. But I was so sold on the school and the support that I saw that I said, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to find a way to get into this school by any means necessary. I don't care what it takes. One day, I was walking through the neighborhood again and decided to go to the school and talk with the coach, because I didn't know who to reach out to, who could help me or lead me into the right direction to get into the school. So I went to the school and I went to the office and I asked, hey, is the coach available to speak with? And the young lady in the office reached out to the coach and said, hey, you got someone that wants to see you. And so we were sent to his office, and I met the coach. And at the time, that coach was the legendary George Smith. And he said, hey, what's up? And I was like, hey, coach, I want to come here. I want to go to school here. And he sort of just looked at me, was just like, I guess he was thinking, maybe looking back now, he was thinking like, where's your parents? Like, this is a private school. He didn't say that, but he had a look on his face, which made me think that. The funny thing about it was he didn't ask another question. After I told him I wanted to go to school there, he just said, how was your grades? And I said, good, good. Good. My grades are fine. And he said, well, get your transcripts and send them over to, bring them over to the office. Because back then, I don't think emails and any of that stuff was very big, or I didn't really know how to use it. After graduating from middle school, I got my transcripts, and I knew my grades wasn't that good. So I opened the transcript and I looked at the grades, and all I know is I had an F for flying colors. I had a D, C's, maybe a B or A. It was something along those lines. I'll tell you what I ended up doing. We had a copy machine in my neighborhood. And once I saw those F's and D's on my report card, I ended up going to the copy machine at the quick stop and writing in my own grades. Now, I wouldn't advise you guys to do this. This was just something I did. I was determined. So I end up turning the F's into B's and the D's into B's. So I wrote that in, and then I copied them over and wrote again and copied them until they came out as perfect as I can get them. So it looked like I had B's and A's and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 C's on my report card. And then I took that copied transcript, folded it up, put it back into the envelope, and I sealed it back together. Probably used some super glue or something, I don't know. And I took those transcripts to the coach at St. Thomas Aquinas High School. And the coach was like, great, I'll check these out. I'll get back to you in about 2 weeks. You guys come back and see me in about 2 weeks, and we'll go from there. Like clockwork, I came back 2 weeks later and asked for coach at the office again. They sent me down along with my friend. As soon as I got in there, he said, what do you think about your grades? I said, they're good, coach. He told us to sit down, and we did. And he said, you changed your fucking grades. Go get your grades up and come back next year. And he did say a lot more than that. I guess maneuver or cheat my way to the top, to a place where I wanted to be. I ultimately wanted to change my future. And I wanted to be in a place that I could make my dreams come true. So after that, I told coach, I apologize. I really just wanted to come to this school. And he said, I understand these grades won't even qualify for you to get in here. So get your grades up and come see me next year. We'll go from there. And I did. I went to high school at South Plantation, and I got my grades to a 3.5, and I went back there the next year. The moral of the story was that I didn't give up. I made a mistake to try to get to a place where I wanted to be, ultimately to build my future. And although I wasn't able to get in the first go around, I was able to get in the second go around, So sometimes in life, you're going to have to go through something. I didn't know what manifestation was back then. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just know that I had a dream. And from that moment of seeing that star on a helmet, I knew that one day I could become a star. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the money to pay for this school. I didn't even really have the support. I was actually the one that signed the papers for me to get into school. I handled everything as if I was an adult. And as I said earlier, I was only 14 years old. So that's taking on a lot for a 14-year-old kid. But I wanted something much bigger than myself. And when you're looking for a way out and you're just navigating through your environment and your situations, and you're trying to take yourself away from things that are going to cause you to go down a road that will ultimately lead to you going to jail or eventually getting killed. I didn't want that. So I found a way to maneuver myself through a situation that changed the trajectory of my career and my life. The main thing out of that experience, what it taught me, was that you may not always get exactly where you wanted to get to, but through that, there's a learning process. And everything that I learned about getting into that school and aiming for something that may be even much bigger than yourself at the time allowed me to start to see life and look at it from a different lens. A huge learning lesson for me. And it taught me how to navigate through circumstances and different things that are going on in my life and to never give up. Continuing to fight for something that I love led me to who I am today. That experience gave me everything that I needed from a young age to be able to sustain my. Stay strong in your pursuit of happiness. Know that you're worth it, it's worth it, and it will happen for you as long as you truly believe and keep fighting. Thanks for coming along and joining me on this journey of discovery and self-reflection. And I hope through my experiences that I have provided some peace, hope, and perspective that will inspire you to move forward and to become a better version of yourself. If you like my content, please subscribe. And remember, aspire to inspire before we expire. See you next week. Peace.